Hello everyone and welcome into episode number 3 of AEW, my TEW 2020 series, and so we're going to start the show with the viewership ratings from the previous episode of Dark. It got a .02, that is 18,070 viewers on YouTube. That was the very first episode of AEW Dark, and now hopefully we can do better moving forward, but we have a great episode of AEW Dark for you guys today. In an abysmal match, Hikaru Shida, Riho, and Britt Baker defeated Leva Bates, Bia Pisti, and Ray Lynn when Britt Baker pinned Bia Pisti. The segment gets an 18, even though all the women performed much better than this. Let's see, things that are noteworthy. Shida got a 30, that's very good. Leva Bates got a 27. All the other performances were pretty lackluster. Obviously, the crowd were turned off by the match. However, there was no vocal crowd against Britt Baker this time, it would seem. Let's just go here to double check, because I want to see. Yeah, Britt Baker wasn't terrible. So I'm happy with that. The crowd isn't turning on Britt Baker anymore. In an abysmal match, Kip Sabian and Shawn Spears defeated Brandon Cutler and Orange Cassidy, Peter Avalon and Steve Corino, and Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela in 10:06. The order of elimination was Brandon Cutler and Orange Cassidy first, then Sonny Kiss and Janela, and finally Avalon and Corino. Shawn Spears carried the match. This one, I just wanted to get a lot of guys in a match together, get it going, see if there was any tag team chemistries I could uncover, but alas, there was not. Shawn Spears with a 39 is the only real noteworthy performance there. Kip Sabian with a 23 is pretty solid. Cutler with a 25. Janela and Kiss both in the mid-20s, but not a ton to be optimistic about from that one. 32 for the segment, so I'm happy with that, and we move on. A freestyle segment called Jurassic Express are shown training for the tag team title tournament featuring Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. It gets a 27. I don't know what that thing that just flew across the screen was, but Luchasaurus clearly enjoyed having the freedom to go off script and performed well. The angle cooled the crowd a little bit at a 27, but that's fine as we keep rolling. In an abysmal match, Brandi Lauren defeated Ivelisse Valdez in 9:56 by pinfall. So Brandi Lauren has her debut match and beats Ivelisse. Ivelisse with a 25, Lauren with a 21, and a 17 for the segment. Not really happy with that, but obviously we're doing what we can with the fact that we have workers that aren't over. Freestyle segment called Penelope Ford attacks Brandi Lauren. So I know I said in the last episode that I wasn't really going to weave any story into Dark to begin with, but I feel like I could have Dark exclusive storylines just to keep it going, which I guess they kind of do in real life. But just so I'm not aimlessly booking things, I kind of wanted to weave this in there, and it gets a 19 also. Lets us have Penelope get some screen time. I think there was supposed to be a change here because Penelope Ford is currently a face, I'm pretty sure, and she's supposed to go to a heel. But I guess I didn't get the opportunity to do that. And in a terrible match, Christopher Daniels defeated Stu Grayson in 10:06 by pinfall with a last rites. They had good chemistry, and it lifted the quality of the match. Daniels with a 50, and the segment gets a 41. So I just wanted to include one match that I knew would do very well, and I feel like I'm going to do that every single main event with Dark, and I know I did that last week with Shawn Spears. This week with Chris Daniels, just include one competitor on the show who you know is going to give you a good match to boost the overall rating of the show. And this segment gets a 41. And so on the whole, for the night, I'm going to say it gets about a 37. Ooh, 38. So close. Better than I had anticipated. So that was Dark. And now we will get into Dynamite. Alright, so an update to the AEW World Tag Team Title Tournament. The Young Bucks last week defeated the Dark Order, and the Best Friends defeated Angelico and Jack Evans. This week we will be seeing the rest of that half of the bracket as the New Heart Foundation will take on Private Party, and the Lucha Brothers will take on the Jurassic Express. So it should be a fantastic week of action here on Dynamite. Many other things are planned, and how will they go? Probably not the way I hope they will. In a pre-show bout that had terrible wrestling and non-existent crowd heat, the North defeated the Dark Order, the Wild Cards, and the Von Erichs. In 1801, the order of elimination was the Dark Order, then the Von Erichs, and finally the Wild Cards. So this was to just get some of these guys out there. They haven't really wrestled in the company, at least the North and the Wild Cards. They're also not super over, and they're all supposed to be part of the Tag Team Title Tournament. So I also just wanted to see how they would do, how they would fare, and it looks like the North are okay. Josh Alexander fared way better than Ethan Page, and the same can be said for Tom Latimer and Royce Isaacs. The Von Erichs performed just about how I expected they would, and we have a bunch of gimmick debuts. They've all gone rather well. So I'm happy with that. And yeah, this was just a little peek into how these teams will be doing in the AEW Tag Team Title Tournament. So the segment rating gets a 30. In about that, a terrible wrestling and non-existent crowd heat, the New Heart Foundation defeated the Private Party in 14:54 when Brian Pillman Jr. pinned Isaiah Cassidy with a tornado DDT. Davey Boy Smith carries the match. Davey Boy had a 44, Pillman had a 30, and Private Party both had around the same at around a 30. And the segment rating gets a 40, which is, I would say, a pretty good way to start the show. I'm very happy with that. Davey Boy is a poor gimmick, while Brian Pillman has a very good gimmick. Not really much else to say about that. The Hart Foundation moves on, and Private Party with a first-round exit. This varies drastically from the way it went in real life, where the Private Party had the upset on the Young Bucks. In TEW, you can't really book it the same way as real life. The Private Party beating the Young Bucks would not have the same effect in the game as it had in real life. And even in real life, the effect it had wasn't fantastic, because you look at Private Party, they had that. They were super hot after they beat the Young Bucks, and really, what have they done since then? They're hardly on television anymore. They're hardly featured. They haven't done anything, and it kind of sucks. So I wanted to build them slowly rather than give them that big win and then have them just kind of fall off after that. 40 rating, very happy with it. Let's move on. The Jericho enter to a chorus of boos and singing of Chris Jericho's entrance music, as they would in real life. Chris Jericho gets to the ring, he's got the microphone, and he says, 2 weeks in a row. 2. You people in the Elite were tricked twice. You stupid idiots. Not only did we destroy the Elite again, but the Elite appear at the top of the entrance ramp, noticeably minus Hangman Page. And Cody says, Jericho, I'm sick of this. You're a coward. You're all cowards. All you do is plan sneak attacks behind our backs. You wouldn't dare to face me or anyone up here, one-on-one. And Jericho says, oh, you think I won't face you one-on-one here tonight? You think I won't face any of you one-on-one here tonight? Is that what you think? Is that what you think, huh? Huh? Is that what you think, you stupid idiot? Well, Cody, guess what? You're right. I won't face any of you one-on-one. But he will. And then he faces Ace Austin, points to Ace Austin, and Ace Austin just looks shocked and confused. And he goes, yeah, Cody, you made yourself a match. Cody versus Ace Austin tonight. And if you can beat me, then I'll consider facing you one-on-one. And so that gets a 42. I was really hoping it would be higher, but as we're starting to try to get the Jericho cult more over, it's going to be some growing pains, obviously. The Elite all performed very well. I'm very happy with them. The Jericho cult underperformed. It gets a 42, so still happy with that. It works. In an abysmal match, Ray Lynn defeated Sadie Gibbs in 10:30 by pinfall with a Ray Cray 0 or Ray Cray O. I don't know which of the ones it is. This was just get another women's match in on Dynamite, get it in front of more eyes so more people will get it. Hopefully they'll get more over. Segment rating of 14. Not happy with it, but understandable. We got the growing pains. A video plays showing Nyla Rose training and performing impressive feats of strength. That gets a 27. We're not going to have our champ wrestle week in and week out on television, and I want her to at least be on every show for the time being, because first of all, she's the champion, and second of all, she has no overness, so we kind of need to have her there, get her involved, so that we can get her over, and she can start having better matches. 27, I'm happy with that. We cut backstage where an altercation is taking place. Santana and Ortiz are attacking Austin Gunn. They're focusing on his leg and beating him down with a blackjack. Jake Hager is holding off security who are trying to intervene. And then Billy Gunn runs in with a steel chair. He's swinging it at them. The Jericho cult members run off. And Billy is checking on his son while yelling for doctors. Please, please, someone come help. Austin Gunn looks like he is very, very hurt. And if you'll notice, the Gunn Club were scheduled to face Santana and Ortiz in the very first round of the AEW Tag Team Title Tournament next week. And so, how will this affect that match? It looks like Austin Gunn is hurt. Is he going to be able to compete? This gets a 34. I was hoping it would be better, but still, once again, growing pains. I understand that it's not going to be great. In about that didn't have much heat and terrible wrestling, the Lucha Brothers defeated Jurassic Express in 11:49 when Rey Fenix pinned Luchasaurus with a Meteora. It gets a 47. This was a steal of the show match. The Lucha Brothers heavily carried this match, and I mean heavily carried this match. Jungle Boy performed very well. Luchasaurus did not perform well at all. I don't expect big performances from Luchasaurus, to be honest. He's really not that gifted in the ring. He's more of a gimmick wrestler, but 47, we're good with that. I'm very happy with that. Phoenix well outperforms Pentagon too, so Phoenix could be in line for a big push in the future. Let's see. The Best Friends step onto the stage with Orange Cassidy to stare down the Lucha Brothers. And just as a note, Orange Cassidy is wearing a neck brace and just kind of, being the sloth per usual. These teams have a lot of bad blood and will face off in the next round of the AEW Tag Team Title Tournament in a few weeks. Once we have the other half of the bracket sorted out, these teams will face off, and they get a 33. It should be an interesting one when they come to blows. Because if you remember, I don't know if it was last episode or the first episode. I think it was the first episode. The Lucha Brothers destroyed Orange Cassidy. And for those of you who are saying, well, Orange Cassidy just wrestled on Dark, isn't that kind of a continuity error? No, it's not, because that episode of Dark will not air until next Tuesday. So for all intents and purposes, Orange Cassidy is hurt until then. 33, happy with that. Tony Schiavone is backstage with Kylie Ray. Schiavone says, everyone please join me in welcoming back Kylie Ray to AEW. Kylie's smiling very hard. She's all smiles per usual, and she says, thank you. Thank you, Tony. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be back. I needed to get some things right with myself before I could really fully commit myself to AEW. But now that I'm back, I'm just excited to be back, Tony. And Schiavone says, you must have your eyes on that AEW Women's Championship, and I can't imagine you're too far down the list of contenders here. And Kylie says, one step at a time, Tony. I'll be the AEW Women's Champion someday. And that'll be the happiest day of my life. But today, I want to enjoy my return. Because this is the happiest day of my life so far. It gets a 23. I didn't script it. Both Tony and Kylie did not do well without a script to follow. It cooled the crowd. So now I have to check really quick and make sure my booking's not going to get fucked. We're good. In an abysmal match, Jordan Grace and Riho had a great... In an abysmal match, Jordan Grace defeated Riho in 2:47 by pinfall with a fall from Grace. It gets an 11. We wanted to just get Jordan Grace some more match time. She is a big project for me to build over the long term. This match brought the crowd down, as you would expect, for a match that featured two people who should be on the pre-show, according to the audience. 20s for both of them. Nothing else to really say. 11 for this segment. Let's move on. Jon Moxley is seated at a bar, and this is not how it was supposed to go. And he says, Kenny Omega, attacking me from behind last week was a bad idea. You see, when I did it, it was a paradigm shift. It was a message. When you did it, it was a foolish mistake. You see, you seem like a nice guy, Kenny. I mean it. You genuinely seem like a nice guy. But I'm generally not a very nice guy. I'm violent. Some say unstable. Mox slams a shot while he's at the bar, looks back at the camera. You kicked the wrong fucking bear, my friend. Now, I have to kick your ass. It could be any time. It could be on Dynamite, Dark, a pay-per-view, the parking lot, a grocery store. I'd follow you all the way to Japan to kick your ass, Kenny. So if I were you, I'd sleep with one eye open. This gets a 68. Kenny Omega wasn't supposed to be on camera for it. That was the only error. And it gets the crowd interested again. So Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega building that rivalry. Very happy with that. Very happy to book towards that. And it should be very fun moving forward. In a bout that didn't have much heat and terrible wrestling, Maxwell Jacob Friedman defeated Shawn Spears in 10-17 by pinfall with a Swanton Bomb. This was a wild brawl, I think. It gets a 37, which I was really hoping it would be better. 25 from MJF, 45 from Shawn Spears. So the problem with MJF is I'm trying to build him up, obviously, but there's no faces that are above unimportant that are willing to lose to him. Like, not even Christopher Daniels or Frankie Kazarian are willing to lose to MJF right now. And so it's forcing me to put him over some heels that are a little bit higher up on the card, like Shawn Spears, but we'll work through it. Match was poorly placed. The Wild Brawl really needs a crowd who are buzzing and ready for action. 37 for the segment. I'm happy with that. It works. We'll move on. Matt Jackson and Nick Jackson are backstage with Kenny and Cody. And Matt says, guys, something's wrong with Hangman. He hasn't been himself since that loss to Jericho. He's just been off. We need to find a way to get him jump-started again. And Cody says, look, Matt, I get you're concerned about Hangman. I'm concerned about him too. But we have a whole roster to be worried about. We can't just give him special treatment because he's our friend. And Nick says, what if we challenge him? What if we make him earn it? Motivate him. Something like that. I have an idea. How about next week, Hangman is in a 4-way match on Dynamite to determine the next person to challenge Chris Jericho. Kenny Omega says, okay. This is special treatment and I don't like it. I'm willing to do this, but only if Hangman is in there with some elite level talent. Some of the best we have. And then, only then, I'll approve this match. Matt says, okay. So Hangman started out, and then Pac. And Kenny, I think you should also be in there. You can really challenge Adam in there. You can get him going. We need you in this match. You're also one of the best wrestlers we have. But that last person, we're going to make it a surprise. We'll make it a surprise so that you're not overly prepared for this match. All 4 of them then vote on it, and they agree on this match happening. So next week, it will be a 4-way match, Kenny Omega, Hangman Page, Pac, and a mystery opponent to determine the number 1 contender for Chris Jericho's AEW World Championship. 64 for the segment. They all performed incredible. Very happy with it. And now we move on to the main event, Cody versus Ace Austin. And in a bout that had decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling, Ace Austin defeated Cody in 2054 by pinfall with a quick roll-up. This did not go right. It did not go right. Cody sustained a high ankle sprain. My road agent notes apparently didn't work. Oh, nope, I just forgot to add the road agent note. I apologize. I messed this up entirely. Nick Aldis is supposed to interfere. He's supposed to attack Cody, and then Ace Austin gets the roll-up win. 45 for this, 68 from Cody, 27 from Ace Austin. I fucked it up, I'm sorry. So now you don't get the shock when you see Ace Austin rolls out to join the Jericho and celebrate. While the attention comes back to Cody in the ring, he's staring at Nick Aldis on the outside. Aldis just stands there and laughs, and Cody can be heard on the camera saying, "What are you doing here? What are you doing here?" The show ends. Nick Aldis debuts. 43 for this segment. Nick Aldis and Ace Austin did not do well without a script. And what does this mean? Nick Aldis just cost Cody a match with Ace Austin. Is Nick Aldis joining the Jericho? Is he just back for revenge on Cody? What could it mean? Who knows? And now we do have a post-show match. And in a post-show match, no one really cares about this. The Jericho defeated SCU in 21-11. Just want to keep these guys going. Get them a few more matches under their belts. 43. And now what do I think the show got? It's going to be a disappointing one. Our minimum requirement for TNT is now 54, and this is definitely not going to hit 54 because that main event was not as good as I had hoped it would be. I would really hope it would be around 54, but with it being in the 40s, I'm going to say that this show gets about a 46. It had a lot of really shitty segments, but it did have a lot of good segments. Just a few really highly rated segments. So I'm going to say those boost it to about a 46, but that main event really drags down the rating. 49. Okay, it could have been a lot better, but it could have been a lot worse. I used the Ace Austin far too much, so I do understand that. I shouldn't have put Ace Austin in all the positions I put him in, but when we're trying to build him and no one will lose to him, I had to force Cody to lose to him, so it was a very bad situation. Increased our popularity in 6 regions, and now let's see what we got on television. Alright guys, so after another disappointing Dynamite in which we again missed the minimum requirement from TNT, and we also missed it from TSN this time, I think, too. It gets a .28 on television, which is 216,983 viewers, which is down significantly. It's like it's less than half of what it was when we had our primetime slot on TNT, but this is what we have to do. This is what we can do with what we're given. The mod maker kind of really fucked me here with the TNT deal that I had in place. But, we're slowly working our way there. We're going to get it. Don't worry. So I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in episode number 4 of AEW.